The first aspect of Chapter 11 that I want to talk about is on page 376. It is one of the assumptions of the process model. All modes of written discourse are equally respected. This resonated with me because it is so often in schools that we only respect analytical writing, but every type of writing has its value and is important to learn. Every type of writing can show the skill needed for writing, and students may not be so scared of writing if they are allowed a little more leeway, meaning they don't always have to write analytical papers. The second aspect of Chapter 11 that resonated with me is on page 393, and it somewhat connects to the last aspect. It is the quote, "Students should be challenged to write like real writers who are writing to make a difference, find their true audience, and cause some result in that readership. Cause a fuss, achieve a feeling, start some thinking." I chose this because all writing in the real world is meant to be for an audience that you are trying to affect. I think that if we want to encourage students to perhaps use writing later in life, we have to show them how to affect an audience of more than just us, and therefore we must evaluate their ability to do that. The way writing affects its audience is its most important aspect, and I feel that we brush over this a lot in education. In Chapter 12, the first aspect I want to address is on page 402, where it talks about how the internet and distance learning actually promoted collaborative writing because it made students more comfortable and less socially inhibited. This resonated with me because, for one, it was shocking. I think we have all heard about how many problems the distance learning during the pandemic caused. So, hearing that there is one thing that distance learning may have actually helped was shocking. This also resonated with me because I had not thought about how this kind of collaboration may need to be scaffolded in this way. We know that we need to scaffold how to have a discussion, but letting students express their thoughts without the pressure of actually being in the same room as their peers is almost a way to scaffold having the confidence to share ideas. The other aspect of Chapter 12 that resonated with me was on page 405, where it talks about having students synthesize a journal with page numbers, a table of contents, and an evaluative conclusion. This resonated with me because I've always liked the idea of having students journal because it is an authentic form of writing that allows for easy and stress-free practice of writing conventions. This idea of having students go back through all of their journal entries from a whole term would be a great way to not only promote reflection, but also show them the growth that they have had over the course of a class. This seems like it could both allow for more metacognitive thinking and promote confidence in the fact that they are growing as writers, even though they may not notice day to day. In Chapter 13, the first aspect I found impactful was on page 443. It is the beginning of the section titled Self-Evaluation, most specifically where it talks about how self-evaluation gives some of the responsibility of determining strengths and weaknesses back to the students. I think that this is very important to promote in students because it shows how real life works. As adults, we must determine our own strengths and weaknesses and how to either play to them or overcome them. This is a skill that is a steep learning curve if you have to learn how to reflect on your own abilities as an adult, but could be made easier by having opportunities to do it while young. The other aspect I want to talk about in Chapter 13 is on page 452, and it is the quote, "We teachers must ensure that our assessments reflect not only what we value about teaching, but also what we value about our students." I think this is important because it forces us to reflect on not only what we may want students to learn, but also what we want them to gain from this learning as individuals. Do we value our students being able to regurgitate facts back to us, or do we value their ability to think critically and reflectively, regardless of if they are going to college or not? We must ensure that we are arming all our students with the tools to go out into the world as well-rounded as they can be.